Hey guys, this is your girl Kizzy Rock. Happy Friday to you all. I'm sure you guys are preparing to have a great weekend. So I missed you guys all this week. I wanted to check in with you guys because I wanted to make this recording on, well, really what it's doing is piggybacking off of a recording that I made last week. The recording I made last week was in reference to you may be, quote unquote, you may be required to give someone a second chance, right? So when I made that recording, I only have the download. Again, sometimes I get downloads, but I don't have a full understanding of it. So I'm just obedient to make that recording at the time. And it's like download, more clarity, I should say, will come after the fact. So this week, it's been, it's been one of those weeks, but I'm grateful. So the individual that I knew who the person was for myself, right? Who I was required to give a second chance to. And it was not anyone in my personal life. It was more professional, my professional life. So everything in the fleshly sense said, no, don't give that person a second chance, right? Because I'm just the kind of person, personally, Kizzy, I'm the kind of person, you cross me one time, you got to go. Because I don't have time for that. And then again, it depends on the severity of the cross. If it's petty, we might can work it out. But if I can't trust you or your spirit is shifty and I can't feel through your spirit, I don't want you around me. Just point blank, period. You have to be careful with that because sometimes what happens is when we have big hearts, we want to try to ignore certain downloads or certain signs. And then when you ignore it, you get burned bad. Really bad. So it's so crucial to be connected to the spirit to know, you get the point. But anyway, so I felt like when I got the download to okay, give this person a second chance, I just felt like, no. And so I had to get to the point where I was able to quiet my flesh to understand that sometimes, if not most times, the things that we do is not about ourselves. Again, that's just the flesh. We always want to feel like, well, what's in it for me? Or it doesn't feel good to me. And what I'm learning further in this journey is that it's not always about us. And the truth of the matter is we're really not here for ourselves. We're really not. And you hear that often, but, you just still feel like, well, I want some of me up in this too, So I didn't even call this person to let them know hey, I'm giving you a second chance. The spirit alerted them and they eventually called me. And that's how I knew it was God, well, after really sitting and making sure I'm connected. Because again, sometimes those voices can be very, very confusing. Very confusing. So that's why it's very crucial to make sure that you are aligned in the way that you hear and communicate from God. Because, those voices can be so tricky. And that can be a very dangerous thing. You can be literally inviting a demon into your life. Literally, So when this person called me, right, your girl was ready. Honey, listen, I was ready to say hello because when I said hello, it was going to be, it was, I was going to unleash. It was going to be on and popping. I was going, I was spitting venom. I was going to snatch her edges. Oh, you about to get it. Because don't play with me because I'm so good to people, right? I'm so good to people that when you try me, even if it's not anything major, but don't try me because you're warned from the beginning. So I'm ready to snatch these edges, right? And then I heard this voice of the spirit. You're not going to snatch any edges. You're going to be moving in love. What? Now, in a matter of a second of the phone ringing, I got to switch from flesh, wanting to snatch some edges and spit venom, to walking in spirit and walking in love in a matter of a second. Man, listen. 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 Whew. So I answered my phone. I answered my phone. And it's crazy how the spirit works now, because that's how we know we can't do things on flesh. Because if we're just relying specifically on flesh, it's not going to happen. You know, I'm going to go off course for a second. That's why I tell people, not everybody, but if you're a person and you struggle in your flesh, or you struggle with being faithful, or you struggle with like retaliation, like, you know, you find out your dude creeped out, so it's almost like, okay, you got a boo, I'm gonna get a boo. Like if you struggle in that area, or struggle with walking away, sometimes, I'm not gonna say all, but sometimes what you have to almost put your promise and your commitment to God. It's almost like, I know I can't commit and stay committed among certain things. This is not for everybody. If I just rely solely on my flesh, I know I'm weak in my flesh, so there's a good chance I will cheat. I know I'm weak in my flesh, so there's a good chance that I will run, I will leave. But see, the difference is when you make your commitment to God, it's more difficult to give up. Right? Because see, your commitment is to God and not to the person. So yes, you love the person, but your commitment, sometimes your flesh is not strong enough just to say, I commit to you, because this flesh is fickle. Feelings changes. And so this is why it's so easy for people to walk out on you know what, I'm going to make a whole different video on that, because I was having that conversation earlier with someone, and that conversation really like branched off, and it was a great conversation, but I don't want to like combine it. So I will make a recording on that soon. But anyway, so back to what I was saying. So when I answered the phone or whatever, it's crazy how the spirit will literally transform you when you're aligned. So me, in my own thinking, I was like, there's no way. There's no way in a matter of a second I'm on 10 and ready to snatch edges, and I'm about to transform to walking in love. But because I released the flesh and the spirit took over, it was natural the minute I said hello. So when I said hello, of course, there's these 1,000 excuses and thousands this and 1,000 that, you know, human stuff. But the flesh allowed me to just shut up and listen, right? Sometimes we have to just listen, even when we want to spaz out. Sometimes when you hold back from spazzing out, and hear me when I say this, when I say hold back from spazzing out, the spirit literally have to take over, because if it's the flesh, you're still fuming in the inside. So like you're bubbling, so you're still not even hearing the person. So everything that they're saying, you're almost kind of just waiting for a response. So you're really not hearing what they're saying. But when the spirit takes over, you can really humble your flesh, as mad as you are, and you can listen. Regardless if you agree, you can listen. And sometimes when you listen to people, you can hear their heart. And then that's when you get that, you know what? We all are different for different reasons. I'm pissed with you because you did X, Y, and Z, but maybe you did X, Y, and Z because, again, you didn't come from a certain type of background like I did, or you don't have people to believe in you like I did. You don't have a support system like I did. And I'm just making examples. And so when you are able to listen, you can kind of get a different feel, right? So I listened. I shut my mouth, which is the hardest thing for me. Which is one of the hardest things for me to do, especially when I'm mad. But the spirit shut my mouth. I didn't shut my mouth. And I listened. And when I was able to listen, I heard this person's heart. And in hearing this person's heart, that's when the spirit allowed me, because I'm also an empath, allowed me to feel this person's true feelings. And so what it is this person came from a foundation where it's almost like your everybody around you told you would fail, right? So you don't even have that support system to even believe in yourself. So even when you have someone else who's rooting for you, you don't embrace it like that because it was never at your core, at your foundation. Where someone who may have came from a foundation where everything that they heard growing up was about, you can do it. I'm proud of you. I know you're strong. You can do this and you can do that. You can be anything you want to be. Some people didn't come from that. Some people literally came from, you will never be nothing. You're trifling. You're sorry. You're a sorry excuse for such and such. Like, this was embedded into their spirit, into their soul. So they believe that. So when you have someone who is trying to give them a better chance and really trying to pour in them properly, that's not normal for them. So they go back to the default setting, and the default setting is just, that the easy way, just to be quote unquote not good enough. So here's where I was confused at, right? Because I end up giving this person a second chance. I didn't move on flesh because, again, flesh was telling me no. But spirit was telling me I was required to. And again, if you guys know me, you know how obedient I am, because blessings is on the other side of obedience, regardless if we understand. It's not about us. So I give this person a second chance. But as big as my heart is, as much as I love on people, anybody who knows you will tell you I will snatch your edges, right? I'll love on you in 1 minute, and I'm going to do that now. I'm going to love on you. But I'm not going to let you give up on yourself. I'm not going to let you play yourself. I'm not going to let you play me. I'm going to get up in your, like, for real. But I'm going to love on you. So it's all love. But don't play with me, right? So guess what happened? Guess what happened a couple of days later? This person messed up again. So now, it's like I'm almost having, like, some words with God, like, okay, my flesh was obviously right. So I knew everything in the physical sense said, don't give this person a second chance. It was obvious. So I gave a second chance, and boom, same foolishness. And then that's when it all hit me. You don't know why God is requiring you to give someone a chance or a second chance. See, God is not here in the physical form. So he have to use a person to love on people accordingly, right? So God knows very well that this person may screw up a second time around, but that's between the person and God. So it's almost like God giving that person, right? You're not even aware in the mix, but he's giving that person some downloads. Like, in spite of everything you've been through, in spite of judgment, in spite of your past, in spite of this and that, I love you enough, but I'm going to choose a person to love on you unconditionally. I'm going to send them to you to give you a chance, right? So, okay, God chooses you to get that first chance. And then the second chance comes and the person burns you again or do whatever they do again. And so now you're almost kind of like, I don't say mad with God, but you're kind of like questioning, like, God, you had to see this coming. And then it's clear as day that it's not about you. He has to deal with that person. So how do you know that that person didn't go to God the first time around and beg God for a second chance? Like, oh my God, please, Lord, I messed up the first time. You just give me a second chance. Please, I'll do it right. But God is a God who loves us unconditional. So unconditional means give chance after chance. Like, He's given you and your little cute self and handsome self 1,000 chances. So He gives this person through you another chance. But that's between him and the person. They messed up. So guess what? Now that's between the person and God. You're excluded because you did what you were required to do. And so now, God will now give you the reward because you were obedient regardless of what your flesh wanted. Right? So you're going to get the reward. But here's the best part. You will get the download that your spirit is released. That's the best feeling in the world, when you know your spirit is released from a person. Here's why. In the fleshly sense, we want to release people. Well, I know I do. I want to release people 50 times a day. Everybody, leave me alone, people, right? So even if our flesh gets pissed with the person or something like that, and we walk away, or we block their number, or we do whatever, why is it that our conscience is still coming back to us sometimes? It's almost like, well, did I cut them off prematurely? Did I really hear the voice message wrong? Did I interpret the text message wrong and I blocked them? And so your conscience is constantly bothering you back and forth. Well, did they really cheat, or was I just being nosy and reading through the text messages and interpreted something wrong? See, your spirit didn't have permission yet. That's the flesh. So sometimes your flesh would have to suffer for a while. You feel like you're being played. And listen, the heart, I'm going to speak for Kizzy. One of the most difficult things is when you feel like you're being played, right? Because you know the kind of spirit and kind of heart you carry, and you know how good you are. So, and I'm not speaking just relationship. I'm speaking every area in life. The hardest thing is when you're helping people, you're dedicating your time and energy to people, and you feel like they're not appreciative. They're being petty in their own little rights. They're going back in their whatever. It is the most difficult thing not to spaz out and cut them off when you want to. That's the flesh. But when you don't have the spiritual release, you got to sit there and take that thing. And see, taking that thing, again, doesn't mean that you're right or they're right. Sometimes it's about God having to perform a certain something that you don't have a part of, so you don't understand why. All you have is the obedience to sit there and take it. So almost feel like you're being tortured. So we can make all these assumptions. Let's take, what's the dude name? Derek Jackson or whatever. Let's take his wife. Everybody's dragging his wife or whatever, right? I'm not saying you be right or wrong. I don't even, listen, that's their thing, right? That's their thing. That's their marriage. That's their household. She may have certain downloads that you don't have. This is why it's crucial to keep people out of your business, because people can tell you 1,000 things based on their experiences. This is a whole nother recording, a whole nother video. I got to get back on track. Let me get back on track, because that Derek Jackson thing is a whole nother thing. I'm going to make a recording on that, though. I really am. But this is why you have to be sure that you are spiritually aligned, because when you have 50,000 different voices coming at you, you may really feel like you're being stupid and you're being played, and the whole world looking at you like you're stupid, right? And the fleshly sense is saying that you're stupid, but you may be getting some downloads from the spiritual realm. God may release you next month, right? The world thinking you're stupid today, but God may have you planted to stand for a reason that has nothing to do with you, but have to do with the other person. And only you can do it because that person only sees you a certain way. Like sometimes we question and we may never know the answer. We always want to say, why me? And guess what? You stand, you take the torture, you take the suffering, you take the criticism, you take the dissing, everybody thinks crazy and all this other stuff. And honey, next month you got to download, pack your stuff and go. Boom. But your blessing is going to come back because you stayed and you were obedient to what God needed you to do for God's purpose, not for your flesh. So this is why it's important to wait on that release. Someone sent me the link last night of I know I'm going to pronounce his name wrong because I don't do like that gossip stuff, but somebody sent me the link, and I think his name was Funky Daniva. I knew he's from New Orleans. He got that accent, but it was his live last night with him and what's her name? She and I speak a lot. We converse a lot on social media privately. what is her name? Mel from Huntsville, right? When I tell you a beautiful spirit, and I'm not even here to even debate anything about her, but when I tell you, sometimes when you get to a person and you can really converse with the person one-on-one versus what you see or what you hear about a person. First of all, these people are human just like me and you, but she's a beautiful spirit, a God-fearing person. Anything else, I don't know. I don't care to know, but I tap into spirits. Anyway, she said something on Funky Genevas, what's his name, guys? On his live, right? I caught the live at the end. And this is what she said. And this is the whole point of this recording. She said, someone asked her, why did she stay through, I think the first season or something, or first something, when she found out he was cheating, or Martell was cheating. She said, and I quote, I was waiting for the spirit to release me. Right there. Boom. That is more powerful than most people would catch. Now, a lot of people caught it on the live because I saw like the comments and some people were like putting up like, the praying hands and stuff. That's deep. That's deep. Because see, again, that spirit will be telling you to leave a long time ago. But when you leave, it's almost like it's going to keep you in a spider web. You're going to always come back. This is why a lot of times when people leave, they keep coming back and you keep getting tortured and you leave again and you come back because you really wasn't released from the spirit. You're released from your flesh and from how you feel. But honey, let me tell you something. When you went on that spirit to release you, that person, people will be flying kites in the sky looking for you. Trust me when I tell you. Trust me when I tell you. Trust me when I tell you. They will be looking for you with planes pulling your name in the sky looking for you, because when that spirit releases you, you are free. Not only are you free, you have a peace of mind because you stayed long enough to kill that flesh and let that spirit move. But when you leave prematurely, that flesh is going to eat you up, haunt you. You're going to come back. You're going to get hurt again. You're going to get hurt even worse. But honey, don't worry about somebody telling you crazy. Don't worry about somebody telling you X, Y, and Z. Don't even worry your own little pretty little head about people not being grateful and appreciating you. Because honey, I've dealt with that all my life. Ungrateful folks. But when I tell you, when you finally get the okay from the spirit to leave, and guess what? When you get the okay from the spirit, you can't even stay if you wanted to. Stay if you want. Stay if you want. Stay if you want. When that spirit tells you you stood the test of time, now you're free. You better run as far as you can. Because that's going to be the one time you got the grace where, again, it's not like constantly like, pulling at your conscience and things like that. You have the grace. And that grace alone will then open all kind of doors to greatness for you, because it's your reward for standing and waiting for the spirit. So anyway, I hope this helps someone. So I got a couple of your emails. I'm still not making, my recordings daily yet. So what I've been doing is I have been putting a star by your emails for your topics. And when I get back to that point where I really start making the recordings back on a regular basis, I will definitely start pulling those topics and making those recordings for you guys. But I miss you guys. I really do. But I'm so busy right now. But I will definitely be back with you guys soon. So come on, let me know what you think. It's your girl, Kizzy Rock.